Uh, Hello, Uday. For the audience, so this is the second part of our podcast. The first part, we have discussed about the how one can come here, Germany, for the master's course, and how one can apply here for the master's course effectively. But in this podcast, we are more focusing on the language, which is German language, which is the, I think, one of the important language in Europe. And so here we have Uday. So I would also like to introduce again. But before that, maybe you want to say something about the last podcast?
Hi Anish. It was really great and it was really nice and new completely because I always like when people ask me, yes, I always give information, I always share information because I was helped. When I was coming here, I was helped by so many students and so much information. So I always try to give info, I always try to share whatever I knew and whatever I think that it might help people. So, but as in a podcast, like you were asking questions and I was answering, this was quite interesting and it was new. I enjoyed it thoroughly. And I'm hoping that now this podcast will help students to know more about German. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So I already have introduced you in my last podcast, but here maybe I can introduce you more explicitly about the German. So you are currently you are a master student. So you are doing in Germany the second masters, which is in chemistry and spectroscopy. But you have a founder of Learn German from Home Institute that is already registered in India, and you have experience of 3.5 years, more than 3.5 years of experience. You have the teaching experience, and also you have 800 plus students, and the students are all across the world, which consist around 17 plus nationalities. So this is all about you, and also you have and right now you are a research assistant in German, I think German research institution. I think there is some name, I forgot, maybe DBFZ, I think. Yeah, so you are a research assistant there, and that's also uh, the job is consist with the German language, if I'm not wrong. So
Yeah.
this is all about you, but maybe before starting the question and all about the German language and but before that, I would like to ask you about the uh, things, how the things is going with the German language, with your mm, courses, what you are proposing to students, right? So maybe can you start with describing this?
You mean the courses, what are
Yes.
offered for the students?
Yes, or also about how it's going now.
Yeah. You mean after moving to Germany?
Yes.
Right. So, yeah, it's going pretty well. And I currently teach not all the levels. Like once we talk about German language, we
Hmm.
can see what are levels in German language and what are these actually. We can discuss even more clearly in coming few minutes. But yeah, after moving here, yes, definitely some changes happened regarding the students and the timings and
Hmm.
the way I teach.
Hmm.
Because when I was in India, I didn't had any experience of, talking to native Germans, or I
Hmm.
didn't had any experience of roaming around German people and all. So
Hmm.
I only knew German from my teachers or from the resources of like YouTube. You have some movies, you have some books.
Hmm.
These were only the resources available where I could know some things about Germany and language German. But
Hmm.
after coming here, sometimes in very silly things, they might sound very silly, but sometimes your perspective changes towards the language, towards the people, and towards the way how the language is taught and how the language is learned. So after coming here, after looking at people, and definitely I had definitely have done some changes in teaching, in explaining few things and giving extra information because after coming here you know more, so you teach more. So I would say definitely there are some changes after coming here in teaching German and all, and that's also helping many students. Yeah.
Okay, so why you have chosen the German language only? Is there any reason, specific reason, or just the random selection of the language?
Right. So everything happens for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So same thing happened with me as well. Like I told in the last podcast about the plan of, to do masters here in Germany. So
Hmm.
the moment I came to know that I have to do masters, I mean, I want to do masters in Germany.
Hmm.
The first thing required is the German language.
Hmm.
It's always important. It's always easier if you have the language with you. Okay.
Yes, but
With
at the same time, this is not mandatory for the master students, right?
Exactly.
Yes,
It is not mandatory, but
it
it
is
is something which
recommended.
is recommended. That's
Yes.
true. So it's not mandatory for my master's program, but it was recommended because of the social circumstances outside.
Hmm.
When you go out, when you want to do anything, you want to work, you want to do a part-time, so you want just because the work environment, and you want to buy groceries, you want to go for shopping, everything will happen in here in German. Okay, everything happens in German language. You go to hospital, you go to bank account, everything. So for that
Hmm.
reason, for survival purpose, it's important that we learn the language. Yeah.
Hmm.
So the main reason in behind learning German was same as like every
Hmm.
other student would think. If somebody is planning to do their masters in Germany or to come here for any purpose, definitely language will be the first thing to
Hmm.
be prepared with. So just like other students, I have also started learning German in
Hmm.
Ramakrishna Mutt.
Hmm.
So RK Mutt is what the short form we call, which is in
Hmm.
Hyderabad.
Hmm.
So I come from Hyderabad. So in Hyderabad, we have RK Mutt, and I enrolled myself in a diploma program in German language.
Hmm.
So it's a 2 year course. It's a 2 year diploma program of German language in RK Mutt, Vivekananda
Hmm.
Institute of Languages. So they not just provide German, they also provide Sanskrit. They provide Hindi, spoken English, Japanese, Chinese. So they also provide
Hmm.
so many foreign languages for
Hmm.
very nice, affordable prices.
Hmm.
So it was my obvious choice that I enrolled myself for a diploma in RKMAT,
Hmm.
and that was for 2 years course. And this happened when I was in my bachelor's final year.
Hmm.
So 2019 ending. Okay. So
Hmm.
complete 2019 ending. I when I was in my bachelor's final year, I enrolled myself for diploma program. And
Hmm.
then I started learning this language. I came to know what are the levels in this language, how is this language structured, how is this evolved, how is this similar to some languages, and how is it different. All these things I came to know, and I continued doing the course, but things happened little different. Okay,
Hmm.
after a couple of months, just before 1 month that I'm not done with the course yet,
Hmm.
within a month my plan got cancelled,
Hmm.
to do my master's in Germany for some personal reasons. So, but then something created interest in me because the language is very much interesting. The language was
Hmm.
very much interesting. This is the first foreign language that I learned. I can't say first foreign language because English is also a foreign language,
Yes.
but
Hmm.
English we never see it as a foreign language because
Yeah.
since our childhood, our
Hmm.
education is completely in English,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Our schooling is in English, everything happens in English. So English is kind of inbuilt for us. But
Hmm.
German was first foreign language and it was very new. Learning a language was a different experience for me. So although my plans got cancelled to do my master's in Germany, I
Hmm.
was like, now or later, I don't know. When I'm going to Germany, I don't know. But let's continue with this German because this is very
Hmm.
interesting.
Yeah.
And one more interesting factor was I was always, I mean, like since the beginning, since my childhood, I love teaching. I'm very much
Hmm.
passionate about teaching. So in my bachelor's, in my school days, and in my master's, I always taught. I had experience of, teaching biology in a school for 2 years. I taught mathematics for my juniors when I was doing my bachelor's. So I taught English for my fellow students who were coming from rural background in my
Hmm.
master's.
Hmm.
So I always wanted to teach.
Hmm.
Yeah. So my personal passion is always about to teach. In my in the RKMAT when I was learning German, first thing I came to know that you can teach German in RKMAT if you do diploma.
Wow. That's
Right.
that's. The good option. Yeah.
Exactly, it's a very nice
Mm.
option
Yeah.
because for a student, the timings are very flexible.
Mm.
And Archimet people, they don't recruit anyone from outside. Although you are a very proficient speaker in German, they don't recruit because they
Mm.
recruit only people who are done with diplomas in those institutes.
Mm.
They want to know that they want their teachers to understand the
Yeah.
teaching
They
method.
want to absorb their student.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They want to make sure that the teacher understands the teaching methodology perfectly first,
Mm.
and then she teaches the students the same way. After
Mm.
knowing this, I knew that, okay, I don't know if I'm doing my master's in Germany or not. I will do diploma here. I will finish off this 2 years course of diploma, and then I'll immediately apply here. I'll start teaching. This was my personal, selfish motivation
Mhm.
behind continuing with diploma in German, although my plans got cancelled. This was
Mm.
the main and very simple, plain agenda of learning German. That's it. Why German?
Yeah.
I would answer just because of
Yeah,
masters.
so
Teaching.
so can you explain, maybe we can go into the detail how you have started or something, but maybe the later part of our podcast. But before that, maybe I would like to ask you about the importance of German language in, maybe you can say about the in general, like how the in general one can, if one can think to learn German, then how it going to be help in general. And if someone is going to come to Germany, then definitely it's going to be have some specific benefits of that. So maybe you can explain a bit more about this.
Right. This is something which I actually love to share
Mm-hmm.
the info because whenever I start teaching, whenever I start take a batch, whenever I
Mm-hmm.
start a new batch, first couple
Mm-hmm.
of classes will just go on, sharing information about language, what is the use, how is it structured, how is it evolved, and all those things.
Yes.
Right. Coming to German, why is it important and what is the importance of this German language is very simple. Germany, Switzerland, Austria, Luxembourg, all these countries,
Mm-hmm.
German language is the official language in these countries. So, if at all you get an opportunity to study in these countries or to live in these countries, to work here, definitely this language will help you a lot with
Okay.
survival things, getting part
Mm-hmm.
times and all.
Mm-hmm.
And when if somebody is planning to do their masters, I always suggest not just masters, if somebody is planning to relocate to these
Mm-hmm.
countries, it always helps if you have a language with you because language
Mm-hmm.
is the best way to understand the culture of a country, to
Mm-hmm.
understand people of the country, and also to communicate well with the people. Always language is needed.
Mm-hmm.
So in all these countries, this language is spoken. So when you have this skill with you, you will opportunities will get opened for you in all these different countries. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you come for bachelor's, you come for masters, you come for a job, doesn't matter. Survival purpose language is always needed.
Mm-hmm.
And coming to German, it's I'm kind of jumping into topics. I'll also talk about the language evolution and all, how it looks and how are what are the things we need to know about this language. Any language, according to the European framework, Europe has so many different languages, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Europe has a common framework reference. Any
Mm-hmm.
language this framework reference takes, it puts in the reference link, and you will get some stages. We call it as
Mm-hmm.
CEFR, Common European Framework Reference.
Okay.
So even German is also divided into such levels.
Mm-hmm.
All the languages according to this CEFR are
Mm-hmm.
6 levels. Starts with A1, A2,
Mm-hmm.
B1, B2,
Mm-hmm.
C1, C2. So this
Okay.
is how all the 6 levels are made.
Mm-hmm.
Even A2, when you say A1, A2 is completely basic level.
Mm-hmm.
Even and A2, these both levels come under basic level of German language.
Mm-hmm.
B1 and B2 are intermediate.
Mm-hmm.
C1 and C2 are advanced. So
Mm-hmm.
depending on one's requirement, if somebody wants to survive here, B1 is enough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if somebody wants to get into medical field,
Mm-hmm.
pharmaceutical field, C1 is required.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody wants to become a doctor, they need
Mm-hmm.
C2, native speaker level. So this is how the levels are created. And the courses, when you talk, there are many courses available. There are many institutes which provide courses. Even when I was doing my diploma, I wanted to work as a teacher in the
Mm-hmm.
that particular institute. I wanted to work as a language tutor or a language trainer. But then because of Corona pandemic, we didn't have
Mm-hmm.
many opportunities. So I myself established this institute called Learn German from Home in April
Mm,
2021, and I started providing the courses depending on like if person is wanting A1, they can join A1 or A2 or B1. Currently, I teach these three levels, and students get enrolled, and then depending on their personal requirements, they learn whatever level they need. They learn, and then yeah, they utilize the courses.
mm. So maybe in general, if one can have the benefit from the German language, then in India particularly, if one can don't want to come here in Germany, so one can have a benefit from the German language in India. So what are the possibility of those?
That's a nice question because sometimes people learn languages just out of passion. They might not come to
Yes.
Germany, but they might learn German because if you have observed sometimes in some international schools, you'll always have French as a second language in
Hmm.
few schools and few colleges. So learning a foreign language is always towards the brighter side when it
Hmm.
comes to career opportunities. So when you learn a foreign language, when you have an extra language soft skill with you, it always helps with different kinds of opportunities for you. One best thing is about the translation.
Hmm.
When you come to a certain level, you can actually
Hmm.
work as translators for third party companies where
Hmm.
clients will be from international countries, and you will require the German, uh, a person who works on German translations.
Hmm.
Amazon, if you take example of Amazon, there are so many jobs for French, for Spanish, for German. Clear?
Hmm.
There are so many jobs which are based on foreign language skills. Even in the BHEL, Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited, you will have
Hmm.
sometimes opportunities for German translators, for Russian translators, for Spanish translators. And
Hmm.
most of the times, the companies also, Deloitte is a company, right?
Hmm.
All of these companies, they will have some projects working with collaboration of German companies. So
Hmm.
when these kind of projects are there, always they require some German translators to work on both of the sides. Like they translate the client meetings towards these people who are working in India. So you also can teach German language.
Hmm.
So translator, project lighter. So you have plenty of opportunities. If you
Hmm.
don't want to come to Germany, but if you want to learn German, yes, you do have all these options.
Yeah, and there are also some government institutions where the German speakers or German person who know the German language is required in some of the research institution like Bahar, and also in the maybe
Exactly.
yeah, if you
In
consider the maybe
when
the Indian
you
Foreign
have this
Service
IIT, I
and
guess in an IIT, NITs also, German is actually taught. You can find
hmm,
some YouTube videos if you type and see like German course NIT Warangal,
hmm,
German course IIT Roorkee. You will have like Indian professors who have done masters and all those things in Germany, and in
hmm,
German, then they teach. They actually teach in IITs and NITs actually. Yeah,
hmm,
yeah, that's
hmm,
yeah.
hmm. Yes, and also if it comes to the importance or maybe the benefit what you are getting from the German language in Germany, so as you have mentioned that yeah, definitely it's going to be good for the having the daily life things like it going to be the easy to have the survival skills to if you know the language then it's going to be easy to going into the tram or maybe going into the supermarket and having the conversation if you want to know something about or maybe interacting the local people. Yeah, it's the one option, but do we have some more technical things like getting some PR, getting a PR in Germany, and also
Yeah.
the having the uh, I would say the nationality.
Citizenship,
Yeah, yeah.
nationality or the citizenship.
Yes.
That's right.
So
That's
now the
that's a nice
peoples are
point.
thinking in that direction also. So can you explain like how it comes into the picture when these are the things come?
That's a nice point. One more thing, like when you asked me about the citizenship or the permanent residence, one more thing popped out in my mind. That is about the driving license. If you're
Yes.
living, if
Yes.
you're living in Germany and if you're having a family, having a car is the best part because that's affordable actually, and it's quite cheap when it's compared to the tickets what you pay. So
Mm-hmm.
when you want to get a driving license, it's always important because the driving license tests or the courses for driving license and everything happens in German. So for
Mm-hmm.
that reason also it's important that you have German language with you. And one
Mm-hmm.
more thing what you told is about the permanent residence of the citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
For these points, for this to get these, what do you call this, to get these benefits of country, of living in a
Mm-hmm.
country, we have some requirements, we have some regulations. You need to work in Germany for 33 months.
Mm-hmm.
Along with that, if you have A1 certificate,
Mm-hmm.
you can get permanent residence.
Yeah.
Or you can work for 18 months or 24 months and you can have B1, then you can get permanent residence. So these kind of some different regulations are there depending on what level of German you speak. Again, it's not fixed because from city to city, again, these things might change. For some people, I have seen for few of my students, they need they didn't need any certification at all. They just got PR like that. Just they knew German, they could speak German, like they learned from me like A1, A2, B1. And when they went for the appointment, they spoke in German, and then that's it. They checked the German in that way, and then they got the PR. So depends again. But yes, definitely when you have language with you, getting citizenship, getting permanent resident becomes a lot easier. Sometimes mandatory, sometimes easier with the certification. That's true. Learning language will help to get these benefits as well. And the
Mm-hmm.
benefit of having a permanent residence and citizenship is the moment you lose a job because of inflation, sometimes people lose jobs.
Yes, yes.
Regularly, when you have a employment contract with you here in Germany,
Mm-hmm.
you will get a
Mm-hmm.
blue card.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is when you lose a job, you will
Mm-hmm.
have only 3 months or 2 months of time to find out
Mm-hmm.
a next new job.
Mm-hmm.
But because of your German, if you have a permanent residence or a citizenship with you,
Mm-hmm.
you will that time, that period will get extended to 6 months to 8 months.
Wow.
So six
Mm-hmm.
months to 8 months, you will have extra time to find out a new job. So these kind of benefits you will have when you have permanent residence and residence permits and the citizenships. And these in unknowingly the German will help here a lot.
Yes, and as you have discussed about, as you have point out about the driving license thing, that yeah, it's really important. As I am also here in Germany as a doctoral researcher, so I also have the experience with one of my colleague that he want to have the driving license, and he for that it's so first of all I would like to clear the to getting the driving license in Germany. It's really difficult and it's really the expensive as compared to India. So if you are going to have the driving license, then it's going to be cost you around 3 to 4 lakhs. In Indian currency, definitely it's going to be 3,000 to 4,000 euro, which is not
Like
it
German
can be,
currency,
yeah.
300, 3,000 to 4,000 German currency.
Yeah,
That's
3,000
true.
to 4,000 German currency in euros. So it's going to be like that. And at the same time, you also are really good, not really good, but at least you can talk into the language, the German language, because your instructor will be the German, and he or she is going to teach you how to drive. And at the same time, the instruction is going to be the really important when you are starting, or when you are starting learning any skill, or particularly the driving, because it's really
That's true.
something called some dangerous thing. If you are going, you can hurt yourself, and you can also hurt the others. So yeah, the German language is really important with my one of my colleague experience. Yeah.
That's
And
true.
yeah, so yeah, it's really help. I would say when you are going out on interacting with the people, as we have already discussed. But for the person, like what, like although I have already the experience, but maybe I can ask you about uh, how the people are flexible with switching the language with the German language or maybe the English. So if you are going uh, to the market, then the what kind of percentage you can, if you can put into the percentage form, then what kind of percentage you can take, how much people are flexible and how much not, and what are those categories, maybe the age wise, one can speak English or when one cannot speak English. So maybe you can say more bit.
Right. Right. That
Mm-hmm.
question was looking so simple, but we need to look at so many factors to understand
Mm-hmm.
this particular concept of flexibility of switching into English or German.
Yes.
There are so many factors we need to consider. The first factor I would say about is the age group.
Mm-hmm.
Age group, like you mentioned, the older people here in Germany, not everybody can speak English because of the
Mm-hmm.
older generations. They didn't had any English exposure, so they don't speak English. The older generation, almost all.
I think this is the same as we have in India, because in India
Exactly.
we can't expect to all older people who can speak English, and all we have around 95% of older generation who can't speak English. although 5% maybe the literate, so literate, the people they can speak. The same here in Germany, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Even here also older generations cannot speak so English. And the younger generations these days, yes, they are becoming little broad-minded. They're they're kind of watching so many English things, songs, and they also want to get globalized because a lot of research things, a lot of education, so many things happen in English usually. When something is taken to a global picture, English is very much used. So these younger generations, I would say, yes, they are kind of flexible with English. Okay, and coming to going outside and talking to people, and then they are shifting to English and German, that depends actually. When you travel towards bigger cities and very crowded cities like
Mm-hmm.
Frankfurt, Berlin, Munich, these are very international cities.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't expect only Germans in those cities. You will expect a lot of international crowd and international population. When there are so many international people, it kind of become like a compulsion that people speak in English. So even Germans you will see there, they'll speak in English. Okay. So but when you go to little rural area, a small cities and towns and villages, you can't expect people to speak in English. And when you travel towards more East Germany side, you will
Mm-hmm.
see that people are not flexible with switching to English. So,
Mm-hmm.
so many different factors when it comes. And Germans will be the most happiest if you speak in their language. The moment you speak in their language, they will be very happy. Understand in this way, you are an Indian, like let's say if you're from North India, you speak Hindi as your mother tongue. And if there
Yes.
is a foreign person coming to you and he's speaking in Hindi, you feel
Mm.
so happy. If some foreign person or a Hindi person coming to Hyderabad and if he's speaking in Telugu to me, I will be very happy. So just like that, if we being foreigners in their countries, if we speak their language, they will be the happiest and they will also help you. They'll also help you and they'll also sometimes switch back to English. The moment they know that you speak in German, they will talk in English. So this is all crazy and very funny, nice experiences. If you enjoy, I mean, if you know the language, you will enjoy these things. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, for the German language is really, I would say it's quite a significant number of people around the world is speaking the German language. But I want to share my experience here with the Korean language. I met a guy in Finland who was a PhD student in Korea, and he said that if someone can speak Korean language with their local, they really treat them as a like wow, what he said, and they offer some kind of food or something to come with them or to have some drink or something like this. So it's really a huge change in their perspective. But here, yeah, we like I can say, as I have mentioned, there is a significant people who speak German, but there is a very less people who speak Korean. So if someone can speak Korean language, then it's really going to be the heartwarming for them. Yeah, so it's really a good, as you have mentioned also, if someone can come in India and speak in Hindi, then it's really
Yeah.
going to be, yeah, good for us also. So maybe I can go more basic, like what is German? Like maybe you can explain and about that, what's German language is and how it comes in
Yeah.
like the origin, and also maybe you can discuss about the some like as you have already mentioned about the A1 A2 B1 B2 with the European language standards, but maybe you can explain a bit more into German context. And also maybe I would also like you to explain about the different levels of exams, or there are not only the one exam, there might be the other exams, and maybe you can explain a bit more about the difficulty level or something. Maybe if you can share something to have one, if one can wants to have the exam or something like this. So
Right. Okay. Nice. So I enjoy this explaining about the German origin and the language
yes.
structure. So any language, like being a language enthusiastic, I'm a person who is very much interested into languages. So I always keep on finding out the roots, finding out the origins, finding out the similarities between each and every language, understanding the structure of the dialogue, what we say now, or the sentences, what we speak. So this is very much important when you are a language enthusiastic. So understanding this German and the origin is very simple and it's not that tough compared to our Indian language families and all. Any language you take, it belongs to a language family. Just like we belong to one family, every language belongs to a language family. For example, I can say all South Indian languages belong to Dravidian language family, whereas all Hindi, Sanskrit, Bhojpuri, Bengali, all North Indian languages, they belong to Indo-Persian language family, Indo-Aryan,
Mm.
Indo-Persian language family. Just like that, German language belongs to a West Germanic language family. Of course,
Mhm.
these will sound some technical stuff about
Mhm.
languages, but I'll try to make it more simple and interesting.
Mhm.
So, Germanic language family has nothing to do with Germany actually. Just like
Mhm.
Romania,
Mhm.
Germania was also a big piece of area in Europe.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, in that we have three triplets, we could say, triplet of languages: English, German, Dutch.
Mhm.
For people who know English, it's quite shocking, but German and English share lot of common things. Almost 50 to 60% of vocabulary is the same.
Mhm.
Grammar is also same. Clear?
Mhm.
Very minute, very few things are there where the grammar completely works opposite, unlike
Mhm.
English and German. But yes, when you go deep down to the grammar, right?
Mhm.
Every language seems logical.
Mhm.
German I found as the most logical compared to English. Compared to English,
Mhm.
German you have fixed rules.
Mhm.
And the script, like you were talking about Korean. Korean
Mhm.
language uses a pictographic script. When I say
Mhm.
script, script is different, language is different. Language is what you communicate and you speak. Script is how you write and how you give
Yes.
the form to the
Yes.
language. Just like the script,
Yeah.
what we use for Hindi,
Mhm. Devanagari, I think.
Devanagari, right?
Mhm.
That's true. So for Tamil, we use Brahmi script. For Hindi, we use Devanagari. Sanskrit also
Mhm.
we use Devanagari.
Mhm.
Similarly, for English, German, we use Latin script or the Roman
Mhm.
script, which is you have this A to Z alphabets. Extra alphabets we have in
True.
German. Four extra alphabets also we do have in German.
Mhm.
So English compared to English, German is also having, I mean, like same alphabets, different spellings, different pronunciations.
Mhm.
To focus on these basic things in the beginning, it becomes very easy. So A1, A2, as I told, A1 is more about the introductions, right?
Mhm.
When you start learning the language, when you start learning language, just like I told, Korean is having pictographic script. That means Korean, Chinese, Japanese, if you look at these languages, they are drawings. Each letter
Mhm.
is like a drawing, pictographic. But whereas German is not such. German, you will have fixed alphabets. This is
Mhm.
alphabetic language. So it becomes very easy if you follow some basic rules when it comes to pronunciation. And
Mhm.
these things will happen in the basic A1 level. You can
Mhm.
introduce yourself, you can talk things, simple things like where you come from, what are you doing, and all. Coming to A2, you can describe things.
Mhm.
Coming to B1, you can justify things.
Mhm.
So it's like telling a sentence, giving the reason, talking a paragraph about it. That is how from level to level you'll improve yourself. So B1, B2 level, if you come, you can very easily survive here. You can talk to native people, you can understand, you can watch movies and slowly, again, it's a constant learning process. It takes
Mhm.
7 years for any person to master a language. So it takes time. So constant learning process must be there. I don't know if I missed any things, but I think I'm expecting that I covered everything. I think I have to talk about the exams.
Yes. Yes.
So once you reach in each and every level of German language, and there are institutes, there are exam, like you have Goethe, you have TESDAF, you have TELK, which conduct language proficiency exams for German. So you need to enroll in those for those exam. You will have to apply, and
Mhm.
you will have to go. You just write the exam. They will give you the certificate, what level you are, how much
Mhm.
percentage you got, whether did you clear that exam or not. So
Mhm.
depending on, like for example, if you take Goethe, this is
Mhm.
very famous certification for language of
Mhm.
German. Goethe is very famous, but also sometimes you'll have advantages of getting so many practice papers. When you have so many practice papers available, it becomes very easy to crack the exam. So that way,
Mhm.
writing Goethe is very much advantageous.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's expensive actually, but
Mhm.
Telk, if you take Telk, is affordable, cheap, but you'll
Mhm.
not have enough practice paper outside. So it becomes tough, to directly
Mhm.
go and crack the exam. So
Yes.
yeah, every exam has its own factors to decide. but I always personally recommend Gyote to write. It's
Okay.
the easiest way. It's having a fixed pattern, and it will be very easy if you properly spend some time and practice enough.
Okay, so and it is also possible to go and give the exam in India, or is it only, yeah, can
Yes,
you
in
explain
India
about
also we
that?
have so many Gyota centers. You have
Mm-hmm.
in Hyderabad, Kochi, Delhi. You have so many Gyota centers in India. You have Gyota centers in Germany as well. So it's
Mm-hmm.
completely up to you. If you want to write it in India, you can write it in India. If you want, you can also do that in Germany.
Okay, so maybe I can ask some experience question from you. So as you have 800 plus students, so there might be around 500 students have already written the exam, or maybe they are, and some of them have the experience to writing in India, and some of them might have experience writing in Germany. So can you maybe explain what's the difference, what's the actual difference between writing exam in Germany and in India?
That is the irony actually. Like when
Mm-hmm.
you told on the 800 plus students, 500 might have already written.
Mm-hmm.
The fact is
Mm-hmm.
only only near to 100 students have taken the exams so far.
Wow. So is there any specific reason why the percentage is so low, or what?
Exactly. It's all about the requirement.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about what backgrounds do my students come from.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my students are here already in Germany, doing their masters, doing their jobs. So, what is the reason that they want the language is just for surviving purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Many of my students are housewives.
Mm-hmm.
They just came on reunion visa, family reunion visa, dependent visa,
Mm-hmm.
but they are facing some struggles when they go outside for shopping, for groceries, when they go for, roaming around. They are
Mm-hmm.
facing struggles because they're not having the language. Most of the time, they are housewives. Many of the times, few parents are my students whose
Mm-hmm.
kids go to schools here in Germany. When
Mm-hmm.
kids are in German schools, teachers will talk in German to them. Parent teacher meeting happens German. So parents want to learn German just because their kids are in German schools. So
Mm-hmm.
why so many of my students have not written the exams? It's just because of these things. They just don't want any certifications for any job purpose or for anything. They want the language. They want to learn it. They want to speak it. So definitely you don't need a language certificate there. But when you want to go for PR, residence permit, or you want to go for citizenship, you want to apply for jobs using the German skills, definitely you will have to go through the exam, right? And overall experience of so many students of have already written exams from India and Germany, it's half and half. Half of them have written in India, half of them have written in Germany. So definitely there are no such important factors which you need to really take care of. It's always the same. Language exam is language exam. Doesn't matter wherever you go and whatever institute you write. But if you write in Germany, you will have German people who will be
Mm-hmm.
your examiners. If
Mm-hmm.
you write in India, you will have Indian teachers who will be speaking in German with an Indian accent. So, but still, there is that. Still, Germans will speak very slowly. They will
Mm-hmm.
not speak. They will not rush, fastly. But everything has its own way of advantages and disadvantages. But in India, if you write, it's a bit affordable and Indian
Mm-hmm.
accent, Indian environment you will have. That's
Mm-hmm.
not much different.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any numbers like how much it will be going to charge in India and here in Germany?
Currently, B1 level, if you take, for example, B1 level is charged around 250 euros here in Europe.
Hmm.
250 euros, that is nothing but 24,000, near to 24,000. Whereas
Hmm.
in India, you can write the same exam for 16,000, 18,000 rupees also.
Okay.
So there is some drastic difference. So it's better if people are going to India for vacation, maybe then they can write the exam and then they can get done with it.
Yeah. So as you was explaining about the students, the type of students you have, and as I know that you have the student who's have the nationality from the different countries. I think 17 plus countries. So it's about India or Europe or maybe in Africa, or what are those countries? Maybe in short, I just want to know what are those countries, but I don't think so. You can't take the name of whole countries, but maybe
Exactly,
you can,
because
yeah,
17 countries is that
yeah,
that's a very
yeah,
big
but you
list.
can take some like important
Examples,
names.
I'll yeah.
Mm,
So majority of my students are Indians.
Mm-hmm.
because usually my advertisements, my publicity happens in Indian groups.
Mm-hmm.
So majority of my students are Indians, and there are many students who come from Bangladesh and Pakistan and Sri Lanka, which are neighboring
Mm-hmm.
countries. And there
Mm-hmm.
are students who come from Middle East countries,
Mm-hmm.
Arabic countries, Afghanistan, Yemen,
Yeah.
Egypt.
Yeah.
There are
Yeah.
students from Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia,
Mm-hmm.
these countries.
Mm-hmm.
Again, end of the day, the main agenda is the common point between all these country people, I mean, all these different students is either they are already in Germany or they want to come to Germany. That's it. So it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter from which country they are. It's all about they want to come here. So hence they join. So majority of them are from our countries. Like
Mm-hmm.
most of them, the most of the students are from our countries. Yeah.
I think there are some also from Africa, right?
Yeah. A couple of, yeah, from Nigeria, I had a
Mm.
couple of students.
And I think from Zimbabwe also, as we have
Zim,
discussed earlier.
yeah, that's true. From Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
the main goal is, yeah, they are all already in Germany and they want to learn. And
Mm-hmm.
through friends, through mouth publicity,
Mm-hmm.
through Facebook and all, when they come to know, yeah, they join the courses.
Yeah. So maybe uh, your journey and right now where you are, it's really sounds interesting to me. So I'm also interested to know the very beginning of your career in this language. So can you explain about your how you have started your first batch and what are
Yeah.
the problems you might have faced or maybe you not, and maybe you can also explain some context at some level about the second batch, but it's not really the important, but the first batch is really always important for you also, and definitely its start is really like having something in our mind that's going to be for lifelong.
True, that's true.
Yeah.
First step is something which is very memorable for
Yeah.
any person. It could be your first job, it could be your first salary, it could be your first country, first home. So, just like that, my first batch was also very memorable. I started this institute in 2021 April with
Mm-hmm.
three students,
Mm-hmm.
and all of them they just came to know about my classes just because of WhatsApp status. So you can understand how close they are to me. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not somebody who is randomly asking my course. It's
Mm-hmm.
just three students, two people for A1 and one student for A2.
Okay.
So with just three students, I started, and then for the next batch, one of my friends, he posted my advertisement in a Facebook group.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, people got started. So for second batch, it was 16 students. For third batch, it got into 40 students. So
Mm-hmm.
from that day, again, it's like I never looked back, because once the students got enrolled, students were always sharing their experiences. I also have feedbacks, reviews, and
Mm-hmm.
students when who in their contact list, they were sharing that with the same kind of mentality and the mindset. People like, you are also interested to go to Germany. I'm taking this course from so and so person, so and so and so. So that's how the publicity went well. And currently, to the exact number, it's around 840 students are done so far with the enrollment. So it just never stopped. It went from one institute to one university to other university, from one country to other country. It became international slowly as well.
Mm-hmm.
So first batch was really memorable. It was just three students, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
So maybe I will going to give your LinkedIn profile in the
yeah,
description. But maybe can you explain how your batch is started or how long it will be and how it works or something like this so that it going to be more clear to the audience if someone wants to have the something in German language or maybe one can want to start German course.
right.
So
So
yeah.
usually I teach three levels, which is A1, A2, and B1,
Mm-hmm.
and the classes happen Monday to Friday, 1 hour per day.
Mm-hmm.
5 days more than enough actually. And then Saturday, Sunday, some homework will be given, because I'm a
Mm-hmm.
nice teacher. I give a lot of
Mm-hmm.
homework.
Mm-hmm.
And every 2 months I start a new batch, because
Mm-hmm.
any A1, A2, B1, it will take 2 months to finish each level.
Mm-hmm.
So once you enroll, let's say in November, you enroll November, December A1, and
Mm-hmm.
Jan, February A2. So that is how. But simultaneously, I teach A1, A2, B1, all the three every day. So whoever is doing their A1, after 2 months, they'll get into A2. After 2 months, they'll get into B1. So around 6 months and couple of months more for preparation courses, like for if you want to take any exam. So 7, 8 months, I would say it's more than enough to get to a B1 level in German
Mm-hmm.
language. So I teach Every 2 months, I start a new batch. And every time people join my batches, every time I start a new batch, first week classes I offer for free so that they get some idea how this language is, how things work, how much time they should spend, how much, whether they are able to understand this or not. All these things, I'll give some time. 1 week of time I give, I teach the language for free. So always students can cross check by joining those 1 week free classes.
Hmm.
That is how things happen.
Hmm. So can you explain how these German language and also the students, like you have the students from all across the world, and so how this is really going to benefit you while you are in Germany, or maybe while when you was in India? That's also the question. Like you was in India and you had the contact in Germany, then how was that? And now you are in Germany, and what's the really change that you have, maybe if one cannot have the knowledge of German or something like this.
Right. That's a very nice point. And I'm always forever, lifelong time. I'm always grateful to all my students, because once the students number got increased from batch to batch, and I had started having contacts from all over the world, and majority of them are in already in Germany. So it always helped me to know much more information about the country, about the things happening currently and back then when I was in India. While I was coming to Germany, so many of my students literally helped with so many things. They
Hmm.
were giving information, they kind of booked tickets for me, they helped me with receiving me. I
Mm-hmm.
brought some around 100 kgs with me. When I
Mm-hmm.
brought luggage, I
Mm-hmm.
brought around 96 or 100 kgs with me. So
Mm-hmm.
at the airport, I was received by my students. At the railway station, I was received by my students. Couple of my students, they came while shifting my apartment. So I was always helped, and I'm always grateful for them. And a lot of information I usually always get. After coming here, I literally traveled to so many places and I met so many of my students. I
Mm-hmm.
celebrated third anniversary of this institute here in Germany
Mm-hmm.
very year, very recently in April. And I invited a few of my students who are very near to my place because not everyone could travel. So many of my students came and we had a lot of fun and it was really nice. I'm very lucky to have all of them. And so it's sometimes I feel so blessed to have so many of contacts and to be, to have so many people in my list where I can just check with them, where I can just be in touch with them. I text them. We always talk to each other and speak to each other. Yeah, that's very nice actually, and I feel grateful. That's true.
Uh, it's really good to have the contact of like this many of countries, and yeah, it's really good to have also the contact, particularly in Germany at different places. Like you are right now in Leipzig, but you have the contacts in different corner of the Leipzig, right? And it's at any point, if you want to have some kind of like information from them, you can have. And also for us, like as I'm also in Germany, so at some point we have some questions like regarding some different kind of visa, if we are planning something to go with the another my future planning, or maybe something kind of maybe buying a house in to Germany, or maybe having something having a car or something, which is like the planning kind of thing is involved. And definitely, as you have the students who really have the experience of that, so you can also have the these kind of information from them, right? I think this is also the one point that we might
True.
yeah,
True.
we might consider here. And also the point from the perspective of the different age group of the students, right? So normally, if one can go into the college, then there are the certain age group of the people, and if one can go into the school, then there are also certain age group. But as you are teaching a German course, and you are around, I think, 25 or somewhere age, and but you are teaching the students, like your student would around not only around the age of 25 or not below than that, it may be for the 45 or maybe the 50, or it also the possibility to have the children's, right? It might be the possibility, I don't know you have or not, but
Yes.
yeah. So how the things is going on with that, how to how the handling of these kind of different age group of the student, and what are the mainly challenges, or maybe what are the main not the challenges, what's the maybe the advantages thing, maybe the opposite of challenges you have, or maybe you want to share something with that.
Yeah. Majority, I mean, like if I try to, differentiate the complete list of students, three main groups of students I get.
Hmm.
One main group is master students or
Hmm.
bachelor students.
Hmm.
Whoever is studying here, that's
Hmm.
the biggest group of students I get.
Okay.
One more group, which is the second biggest group, is the ladies group. Okay.
Hmm.
All the housewives,
Housewives, yeah.
all the housewives and who are having kids going to
Hmm.
German schools. This is the second biggest group who learn
Hmm.
German from me. Third group is all men who
Hmm.
are working,
Hmm.
but they need German for their residence, permanent residence, or citizenship, or driving license, or surviving. These are the
Hmm.
three major groups. First
Hmm.
major group is your master student. So it's pretty easy to teach students because they're already studying something in the
Hmm.
university. They're just learning a different language. Coming to housewives, all are already fluent in English. Hence, they learn German. So
Hmm.
even that's not a problem. And
Hmm.
teaching men is also not a problem because they are always constantly learning programming, coding, so many software things.
Hmm.
But coming to kids, I never had many kids, but I had only a couple of three or four kids in the classes, in the courses.
Hmm.
Three or four, not many. But
Hmm.
yes, the way I teach and the way recordings also always helped them to understand them multiple times by listening and to, watch again and again.
Hmm.
There are no difficulties as such, but when it comes about when you don't spend enough time with the language, you will start facing difficulties. You don't
Hmm.
spend enough time in implementing what you learned during the classes, then the actual struggle starts.
Hmm.
That is what I would say. Yeah.
Hmm. So, do you have any experience with any special kind of student if you want to share, or you can also skip this if you don't have anything experience or something?
Special, you mean? I don't know
You
if
don't have to take
only
the name
one
or something.
second.
You can just say in
Yeah,
general.
if it's not just like one student, but some students I see that I am part of their journeys. I can say that
Hmm.
because they are part of mine and I am also part of mine with theirs because
Hmm.
I see them joining my courses while they are starting their masters and now currently they are doing full-time jobs.
Hmm.
Some students, I see them, they were in India when they were joining the courses and I see them that literally they are coming to Germany to do their masters. Some students doing higher levels. Some students, meeting randomly. Unknowingly they
Hmm.
meet and they came
Hmm.
to know that they are my students. So these
Hmm.
kind of situations happen sometimes. We say it's such a small world.
Hmm.
So meeting my students is something which I feel so happy to. Traveling along in the same flight,
Hmm.
these things happened.
Hmm.
So these are some memorable things coming and staying. I stayed at few of my students' places while I traveled.
Hmm.
So over long night discussions, gossiping in the
Hmm.
night. It's
Hmm.
it's all fun. It's all fun. I always stay in touch with them, and I always say that we are a part of. It's not just like commercial thing. It's like a part of our life. We
Hmm.
always stay in touch with students. Actually, yeah, I feel so happy for that.
Hmm. I think now we are at the end of our podcast, but before
Right.
ending the podcast, maybe I would like to ask you if you want to give any kind of message to your students, as you have the 800 plus student and you also have the different kind of nationality exposure as a teacher to teach them. So, would you like to give any message to your student?
Yeah, the I would say first my thanks. As I already told, I will always have gratitude towards them, and I'll always have a part, in my heart for them. It's a very big extended family after these many years, and only message is like always stay consistent because consistency really pays off, and learning German also really pays off. So my personal experience currently, I'm working as research assistant in a German research center only because of German. It's of course because of the modules, because of the subject knowledge what I have, but definitely if Just like there is one more person who have same academic skills just like me, but I
Hmm.
have German with me, that made me, you know, shortlisted to that interview. And there again, I proved myself by talking in German, and then I got the job. This experience I'm telling because learning German will always help you with so many things in this life. In especially if you are living in Germany, especially if you have decided that at least 10 years you want to live in Germany.
Hmm.
So my message is only that stay consistent and always
Hmm.
learn. Constant learning is important. I myself every day still learn.
Hmm.
So learning. That's it.
Learning is never stop. That's the
Learning never stops.
yeah.
That's true. That's true.
That's the important thing that we all have to consider. It's not only about language, it's all about the life also. Yeah.
Exactly.
So thank you so much, Uday, for the second part of this podcast. It's really nice talking to you. I hope we can have the another podcast or at some point if we have to discuss something more about maybe the other topic or maybe more about German. I think I can have another podcast with you for the German, maybe specifically about focusing on another topic. But for the time
Definitely.
being, thank you so much. It's really pleasure to host you here.
Yeah. Thank you. I felt very nice talking about this thing. Thank you, Anish.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye bye.